game without talking about 21 plays, 90 yards, 9 minutes on the clock in the fourth quarter. Just couldn't get them off the field.
We got to find a way to stop, and we did it to ourselves. Penalties helped to keep the game going. Poor tackling, and you got to take your hats off to them. When they needed to drive. I really felt we were going to get the ball back on a very short field, and they didn't let it happen.
I said earlier in the third quarter when we were backed up down at our goal line, we punted and flipped the field. I said that's the turning point of the game, and we couldn't take advantage of it. That last drive, I know at one point there were.
Our drive, you mean?
The last drive they had, that 9 yard. We had 2 backup corners and 3 backup linebackers in the game.
We're pretty beaten up, and it was a bit of a triage unit down the sidelines as we're putting together special teams and some other things like that. So, it's next man up. They got to step up and they got to play at that level. There's certainly a fall off in game experience when that happens. The nice thing is it bodes well for next year from the standpoint they have some game experience. It doesn't really do much for the sour taste in our mouths right now. And that's going to carry on for 286 days until we play our next game.
Got off to a good start, drive down the field, score, and then they answered their score, and then just didn't find any rhythm offensively.
Well, they did a good job of shutting down our run. Their defensive line is probably one of the best we've seen in the league, and certainly our guards had a hard time. Our line in general had a hard time moving them. I want to think, again, until you see the film, you don't know, but there were a couple opportunities where I thought our backs had opportunities. We probably misread the play a little bit, and again, credit to them. Their linebackers in their front, just stuffed us all day. We couldn't get anything going. Run game, and when you can't run the ball, that opens them up for, they blitzed a little bit more. They ran a couple corner fires that they hadn't done before. And they can do that when, in a long yardage situation. We just couldn't stay ahead of the chains all day.
Turnovers again, a big part of it. Didn't produce a lot of points for them, but kept us from scoring.
Well, the one interception was the one that really, I thought, kind of turned the game. Yeah, because I really felt we had momentum. And I thought Ryan, God bless him, was just trying to press a little bit. And we had, when he's under duress, we have a check down that he could have gone to. I'm not blaming Ryan. It's just, and he was under duress. I think he got hit as the ball was released, so it wasn't all, quote, his fault from that standpoint. But we just got to be smarter about having some pocket awareness and getting a sense that, and knowing your opponent from the standpoint, we knew that it was going to be difficult to hold the ball for any amount of time. And so, we talked about hitting checkdowns and that all week, but he threw the ball and they made the play, and I thought that took a little wind out of our sails, but also we had kind of gotten something going there and just took us out of the rhythm.
Got to 5-5, couldn't finish with a win in either of the last 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
Is that as much about maturity as it is about who you played and what happened?
If you look at both games, we're inside the red zone a number of times that didn't score. We had them in long yardage situations with field position and didn't stop them. So I guess if you can take a silver lining, I didn't think we were, quote, overpowered. But by the same standpoint, to beat teams of Drake's experience and tradition and that type of stuff, you got to knock the champion out. And we didn't throw enough knockout punches to do that.
By the same token, didn't turn the ball over except on the punt.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of.
Well, that's what good teams do. I mean, it's no secret that if you win the turnover battle and the explosive play battle, you win 95% of your games, and we didn't do either today. And so that's going to be something, as we work on this spring, we're going to work very hard on not turning the ball over. Both from a ball security and where we're throwing the football too. We got to make better decisions from the quarterback position.
So where can this program be next year?
Well, if the trend follows, hopefully we can take that next step and get to the upper half of the league. And you would like to make sure that the games in November mean something. And so I think that's it. We have not. When I look at what I call the big 4 teams, you got San Diego, Butler, Drake, and Jacksonville. Those are the ones that have perennially been up. Dayton's up there too. Once in a while, Marist was for a couple of years, but against those 4 teams, we were over, and we were close in a lot of them, but we were over. And so until we get a signature win, one of the things we were able to do is I thought we became a better second half team as the season went on. That's something we had not done. The third quarter had just killed us prior to that. So I take that as a sign of maturity. But in all those games, our physical, our strength is just not even close to what it needs to be. And that's part maturing and part we need to hit the weight room and make sure that the kids can take some summer school and hang around and live together as a team. But it's pretty evident in the games we couldn't run the ball effectively. Clearly, our strength is not where it needs to be. And again, I think that's part maturity because, these guys these offensive linemen generally, redshirt seniors are when they finally start to kick in. And so, most of these guys will have 2 more years to develop that. But hopefully they have a taste of what success feels like and have developed an extreme distaste for what we feel like right now.
The last drive that they had was obviously tough, but they did have you guys twice. They answered twice with 90-plus yard drives. In the first half, you guys scored 13 plays, 97 yards. Did you see anything from them? Did they do anything differently on those drives? It looked like they kind of buckled down. And again, it got to be really frustrating to see kids fight, get into position, look like they have a chance to get in the game, and then drag this answers with those type of drives.
Well, there's 2 questions there. The first one is, were they doing anything differently? Not really. I mean, we knew their quarterback was big, hard to tackle, a little bit like Ben Roethlisberger, and we had some hits on him today, and he fought them off, and his strength allowed him to fight those off. So no, they didn't really do anything different formationally and motion-wise. Is it frustrating? Yeah, it's really frustrating when you have them at 3rd and 15 on their own 17-yard line. You're thinking you're going to get the ball back at this point. We had them on. It wasn't just a 3rd and medium situation. We had them at 3rd and long yardage. The outside screen tends to continue to hurt us today. Hurt us twice big, and we've got to, if we're going to be a pressure team, we've got to have answers and things got to come out of the blitz so that we can defend that. And then the other thing is, I thought, I thought they did a good job of just kind of fatting us up, so to speak. Just kind of let the back just kind of pick and weave, and again, their strength up front really was the difference in their run game. I thought because they, when they handed off, they were getting 3 and 4. Really without any type of crazy schemes or anything like that. They weren't fully just straight inside zone and just knocking us off the ball. And again, so that goes back to, I think it's pretty clear what we need to work on this off season. And I told the team after the game that, I told them that, next year starts right now. And we can't afford to take any time off. We are giving them next week off for Thanksgiving, and then, we'll have 6 times before we leave for finals, and we'll have a program that they can take home for 3 weeks, and they have to get started in, because those 3 weeks have to get us ready for the lifting prior to spring ball, and we need an 8 to 9 week cycle for these strength changes to remain permanent.
Every time it looked like Greg may have this thing put away, though, your guys did come back at them. Mm-hmm. And you got to look at it as a coach, I think. Maybe the execution is of what you wanted today in a lot of areas, but at the same time, to have your guys come back and go down, I thought, fighting in the game.
I agree 100%. I was proud of the effort, and it's not like we ever quit playing or anything like that. That certainly wasn't, and frankly, that was something we needed to learn this year. We didn't always do that last year. So that on that side is positive. And I told them after the game I was very proud of their effort. Wasn't always proud of their execution, but I was really proud of their effort. And so, I mean, right now I want to feel bad, and I do. But there are a lot of positive things. But again, to me, when you're trying to establish a program and trying to establish a culture, if you find ways to justify a less than winning effort, you'll never be able to get to where you want to go. And so, we can't accept, while I appreciate the effort, we need to increase our execution so that end result is the win. And if we don't keep that goal and that bar as high as we need to get there, we're never going to push ourselves over that bar. So academically, I know you're exactly right, but emotionally, I want to make sure that these guys are not ever happy with good effort is what you always expect. I mean, that doesn't take any talent. That should be a given. And so I was proud of that effort, no question. But we've got to make sure that we come back and execute better and play smarter. You know, we had a couple really crucial penalties on that one drive where we went at the end. You know, we get a block in the back, and really the play was over, and he was behind it. And there were a couple routes that were thrown wrong. There were misreads by the quarterback. I mean, so all together, listen, there's no such thing as a perfect game, but we can tighten things up a lot, and I think that will come with experience. You know, most of these guys have been in our offense is modified a little bit this year, so there's a couple new wrinkles, and as we start settling on what our kids can do as they adapt to the training that we're going through, I think this spring is crucial for us to come out and make sure we eliminate the things we talked about, the mistakes, the turnovers, and that stuff.
So 5 wins in the second year of a brand new program. Is this year a success?
Well, when I wrote down a number in my notes, what wins I thought we could get to, the number was 5. And that was before the season started. So is it successful? I would say probably. But the way we lost a couple of games that would have gotten us to a winning season probably makes me feel that maybe I underpredicted, possibly. But you know, I thought we could get to 5. We got to 5. Once we got to 5, I really thought we could get to 6 or 7, and we didn't. And so, you know, hopefully, you know, the guys. The hurt's bad right now, but once they get back from Thanksgiving, you know, time heals all wounds, and we'll go back to work and see if we can't get this thing going. Hopefully, trending wise, you know, we can improve 130% next year too, and that'd be pretty good.
And lastly, Coach, your final thoughts on losing 2 of your sons to senior day today. Just your final thoughts on Jacob and Fletcher as they take the next step in their lives.
Well, it's funny when prior to this year, you know, I had always told the mothers, hey, cut the cord, they're ours, and couldn't understand why they missed them so much. But when I would lose seniors, I kind of got a taste of why and their feelings. And then when my daughter went to college this year, I had a much better understanding of why the mothers and fathers were so sad to see him go. I mean, Jake, you know, kind of transferred in. He came here the first year, and really I thought found his role. He played a lot of games his freshman year, and then as we recruited and things shook out this year, he didn't, but he never complained. I mean, worked his tail off, found his role, and did it to the best of his ability. And the other thing that Jake is a good person. He takes care of people. He's involved in a lot of community service. He had talked about maybe even a profession in the seminary or something like that. So his empathy and care for others is remarkable. Fletch, I mean, Fletch has been mentioned in the charter. He came to me, you know, he was one of that first group of 12 that showed up when we were there in the fall of 11 and asked if they wanted to play football. And as the announcer said today, you know, he helped us recruit every kid in that first class of 108. He was one of our first captains, consummate leader, consummate motivator, you know, in the locker room, phenomenal presence in the locker room. And everybody trusts him, everybody understands him, and I think that's why he's going to make an extremely great physician, because he cares about people, but more importantly, if I'm flatlining on the gurney, you know, I want him working on me, because he's not going to quit. You know, he'll split the chest, massage the heart, he'll find a way to keep me alive. That's the guy I want on me, and he just has those traits. And I think, you know, he was extremely emotional. Both he and Jake were extremely emotional in the locker room afterwards. Both have years left, and both will be approached to continue those years by me on numerous occasions if I can talk them into it. The trouble is, without scholarships, it's kind of an expensive deal. But you know, we'll miss Fletch and Jake a lot, and not to undermine what Jake's meant to the program, but Fletch has been here from the start. I mean, he was one of the pillars, And I'll say this, both those guys will get rings when we win our first one.
Good enough.